I would like to ask the Treasury Minister for how long records of interviews by Social Security are retained.
I want the Treasury Minister to reply.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy President. In answering the question, I assume that the honourable member's specific question relates to the audio recordings of interviews held under caution conducted by Social Security inspectors. I can confirm that where following an interview under caution, an individual is prosecuted for offence under Social Security legislation, both a master copy, a working copy of the CD recording would be kept for 7 years and would then be securely destroyed. I can further confirm that if following an interview under caution, if it is apparent that the person concerned has not committed offences under Social Security legislation, or it is decided by the Social Security Executive or the Attorney General's Chambers not to pursue prosecution action against the individual concerned for offences under Social Security legislation which may have occurred, then both the master copy and the working copy of the CD recording would be kept for 2 years and would then be securely destroyed.
Supplementary question, Mr. Moorhouse.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy President. Are written transcripts of the interview made and retained? Recent correspondence from Social Security confirms what you've been suggesting, that after 2 years nothing is retained.
Minister to reply.
I think the honourable member asked me whether written transcripts were retained. As far as I understand, Mr. President, all records pertaining to that particular transcripts related to that interview are destroyed following the interview, depending on the circumstances which then arise.
Supplementary question, Ms. Castaigne.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy President. Could I ask the Minister what the policy is on the recordings of interviews where people are not under caution?
Minister to reply.
Mr. President, I will report on that. My understanding is that all interviews that are recorded are done so under caution, but I will confirm that. But my understanding absolutely is that any recorded interviews are only made when there is a caution, when a caution has been given.
Supplementary question, Mr. Moorhouse.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy President. Where people agree to pay back money to Social Security for a period of longer than 2 years, does the Minister agree all recordings and transcripts should be retained to ensure the vulnerable are adequately protected and their cases can be reviewed properly if the need arises?
Minister to reply.
Mr. Deputy President, the law is very clear as it stands on for how long Social Security are required to retain such documentation. I am sure that where these cases exist and cautionary interviews have led to a forward action, that documentation should be considered when it comes to being destroyed. But as I said, the law is quite clear as to how long Social Security are required to take keep such formal recordings.
Supplementary question, Ms. Edge.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy President. I wonder if the Minister could just confirm when somebody initially has an approach from Social Security with regards to a possible benefit issue, what is retained by, because obviously that might not be under caution at that point, what is kept and how does the individual get documentation to prove that they were not committing any benefit fraud?
The question is only around the recordings of interviews. Minister to reply in that context.
I'm happy to confirm with the honourable member in due course about specifics on record keeping, but really the question was focused around those conducting interviews under caution. I think the Social Security Division is entitled to keep appropriate records safely and securely pertaining to individual discussions, and of course current legislation allows for individuals to have access to those records should they so write in to decide to inquire as to their status.